If you've been watching my tutorials and think to yourself, ugh, there are never any good flights out of my home airport, this video will help. If your home airport is a smaller one like Oklahoma City, St. Louis, Santa Fe, Reno, Sacramento, or something else that doesn't have a ton of international flight options, what you need are positioning flights. That's where you book a great flight deal out of a major airport like New York or Los Angeles, and then you buy a separate cheap ticket from your home airport to that bigger airport. And I know what you're thinking, ugh, but then there's the cost of that extra flight, the hotel night in a really expensive city like Los Angeles, food costs in that really expensive city. Doesn't that just negate all of the costs of the flight savings from going through a bigger airport? No. In today's tutorials, we are going to go over how to save on the added cost of positioning flights if you are positioning through Los Angeles. Also, if you love free resources that let you maximize your points, check out geobreezetravel.com/quiz. There, you'll find a free short quiz that will point you to the best resources depending on whether you're trying to earn more points, redeem your points, or something else. And by taking the free quiz, you'll also get access to the free Points 101 course, which is a fantastic resource for anybody who is just getting started with points and miles. Okay, let's jump right in with when in the world would you even need to use these positioning flights through Los Angeles?
Okay, let's start with when would you need to do a positioning flight into Los Angeles? So there are a lot of different routes where if you want to go into Asia or Australia, New Zealand, South Pacific, South America, oftentimes you will save a lot of points by going to Los Angeles first and then flying from there, rather than trying to book an entire itinerary from Oklahoma City into Japan. It's oftentimes going to be a lot cheaper for you to book it on points from Los Angeles to Japan and then just fly Oklahoma City to Los Angeles separately. And to find the different routes where this would be the case, I would go to seats.aero, and on the search feature, you can type in LAX, over to ANZ, Asia, which is ASA, EUR, which is Europe, and even South America. Pick a random date in the future, and I put plus or minus 28 days just to show a lot of different examples, and then we'll go ahead and click search. If we're looking for business class flights, there are a lot of options right now with Alaska Airlines, where you can go from LAX to either Lima or Santiago for only 45,000 points. And let's say you don't have Alaska miles, let's say you only have Chase points. You can go from LAX over to Paris for 50,000 points, London, Amsterdam, Warsaw, Poland, Taipei, Incheon for 70 or 75,000 points, down to Singapore for 87.5 thousand points. So you can do a lot of these, and these are all direct flights, and they have a lot of connecting flights as well, where you can go LAX over to Italy, more Taipei, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Beijing. And with most of these, you will not be able to find these directly from an airport like Las Vegas or Salt Lake City or Phoenix or something else like that. You would have to go into Los Angeles first. As you can see, here's the list for Las Vegas, and seats.aero doesn't track every route, but you can tell it's a lot more limited because there's just way fewer aircrafts and airlines that fly into Las Vegas compared to LAX. So what we will often do is take a quick trip from Las Vegas to LAX, hang out there for a night, and then take the aspirational points redemption from LAX over to Asia or somewhere like that. Here is another way to find a whole bunch of points deals departing from LAX. So in Point Me, they have the Explore feature where you can click on Start Exploring, and then you can say you're trying to go from LAX to anywhere in business or first class, and then you can just say here are the dates or the months that I'm looking to travel, and then go ahead and click on Explore. And then Point Me will populate this page with all of the good points deals that other members have found in the last few days, departing from Los Angeles to anywhere in the world in business or first class. And so this can be a really good way to find some flights from a particular airport. And if you are searching a major airport like Los Angeles, you are going to find a lot more availability versus if you are searching from somewhere like Denver, Colorado, or Salt Lake City, El Paso, Texas, something like that.
Are you enjoying these types of videos? If yes, please let me know. Click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for even more points and miles tips every week. Next up is a tutorial for how to cover that hotel cost if you need to spend the night in a really expensive city like Los Angeles.
If you're going to be taking a positioning flight over through LAX, I highly recommend that you arrive the day before your flight. You don't want to take a 9 a.m. flight from Phoenix over to Los Angeles and then suddenly it's delayed and you might not make your big international flight that you spent a whole bunch of points for. That would be very unideal. So I highly recommend arriving the night before. But LA is expensive and you're gonna need a place to sleep that night. So this is where I highly recommend using those different free night certificates that come with different credit cards. A lot of people are like, when do you only stay at a hotel for one night at a time? This is the exact use case. I use the vast majority of my hotel free night certificates during these different stopovers and layovers when I'm doing positioning flights either through Los Angeles or a different city. And the way to find the best hotels to use these certificates with would be with a Waze, A-W-A-Y-Z. And then we can just search for LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, and then I'll just pick some dates out in the future. And this will show all of the different hotels in the area, both for points and cash. But I also like that Waze has these nice different filters where we'll say, okay, let's say we only have some Marriott points and we have a 35K certificate that comes with the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. Which different properties can we use that with? So let's filter down to Marriott. And with these advanced options, we can even say we just have a free night certificate with Marriott for 35,000 points. So now it'll filter down to just the Marriott hotel options, where it's 35,000 points or under for the night that we need. So we could stay at the Residence Inn, Los Angeles, LAX Entry Boulevard, Spring Hill Suites. A lot of these don't have availability, and I like that Waze flags which ones do and don't have availability for you. So that's how we can find all the Marriott ones. So let's say that we just wanted to use the Hyatt free night certificate that comes with the World of Hyatt personal card, which is $95 per year, and comes with a free night certificate for a category 1 through 4. Then we would just select that down here. We would select Hyatt up here and then click search. And so here it'll show you all the different Hyatt hotels that would qualify, how many points it's going to cost versus the cash rate. It'll also tell you whether you should be using your points for that hotel or your cash for that hotel, because sometimes it's just not worth the points. If this is 12,000 points per night or $195, this would recommend use cash. I also recommend using money because for 12,000 points a night, I would personally want the hotel to cost at least $240. So even with this Hyatt House LAX, this is like a wash for me. I would probably use money instead of points for this one. This Hyatt Place LAX Entry Boulevard, I would rather pay 12,000 points rather than $273. So those are some different options with Hyatt. If we instead wanted to do an IHG free night certificate, with the IHG personal card, you get a free night certificate for up to 40,000 points per night. So it looks like you have 3 different options, either the Kimpton Hotel Wilshire, Holiday Inn Los Angeles, Holiday Inn Los Angeles Gateway. Oh, it's got more than 3. Some of them are just a little bit further out. But this will show you on the map what your options are, and then also how many points, and you can filter it down to which free night certificates to use.
You can often get these free night certificates with credit cards that cost less than $100 a year. We're talking about cards like the IHG Rewards card, World of Hyatt card, Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, and other options as well. If you're in the market for a new card to get complimentary hotel nights, but you're not sure what card to get next, we offer free credit card consultations at geobreezetravel.com/consultations. We'll send you personalized recommendations based on your particular goals, budget, and lifestyle. Or, if you already know what card you want next and you'd like to support this show when you apply for your next card, we have all of our affiliate links listed on geobreezetravel.com/cards, which you can also find in the description box. Okay, so now you've got your accommodations covered for the night, but then you realize food's expensive and you can't afford Erewhon in Los Angeles. So you're like, hey Julia, got any tricks to save 25% or more on food? Especially if I don't have status to get free meals at hotels? Yep, we've got you covered on that too.
So once you've booked your hotel, depending on where you book, then you have to figure out the food situation. Sometimes if you have status like Hyatt Globalist, you'll get free breakfast. Sometimes different hotels will just offer free breakfast, like the Hyatt Place will offer free breakfast, the Hyatt House always offers free breakfast, but that only takes care of one meal of the day. So if you arrive the day before, you're gonna need to eat dinner somewhere. So here are a couple of tricks for how to save money on that. I really like this app, Seated. It's available in different cities like Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, DC, Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco. So, AKA a lot of the different cities where you're gonna find yourself taking positioning flights and doing layovers anyway. If you want me to do a full breakdown of what to do in layovers in any of these different cities or any other cities at all, let me know in the comments. But I highly recommend this app, Seated, because what you're gonna do is use this to make reservations at different restaurants that they partner with in those cities. And then, once you complete your dining experience, you upload your receipt, you'll take a photo of it, upload it to the Seated app, and you get cash back. And these cashback levels are really high sometimes. I've seen as high as 60%, which is insane. But for example, here in New York City, this restaurant Boqueria is 24%, Rosa Mexicano, 22% at Blue Ribbon Brasserie, 18% at Zuma, 16% here in Boston, 20% at Bistro Nico Atlanta. And then if we wanted to go into Los Angeles, I sorted by highest rewards, but you can also sort by distance or top rated or however much you would like. You can also filter by the type of cuisine you like, your budget for different restaurants. They do have budget restaurants as well as more fine dining options. You can pick the mood that you want, crowd pleasers, date night, outdoor dining, trendy vibes, stuff that's good for groups, and then you can just pick your restaurant from there. They also tie it straight into the Yelp reviews, so you can see the different reviews for different restaurants. Like for this one, Portabancos, looks like it has 4.5 stars or so. It's Nicaraguan, seafood, they take walk-ins, and you'd get 21% back. There is one in Malibu Farm. This is all the way down in Newport Beach, but you do get 18% back with that. 18% at 208 Rodeo Beverly Hills, Levant, 18%, 15%. So depending on the restaurant and the area that you want to go to, you can get 15% back or more at a lot of restaurants, on top of any credit card benefits that you have. Like if you have the Amex Gold, you can get 4 points per dollar on dining. In addition to downloading Seated, I also recommend downloading the free Built app. With the free Built app, you don't need to have the Built credit card if you don't want to. All you need to do is link up whatever credit card you use for dining up to the Built Rewards app. So let's say that you're using an Amex Gold. You would just link your Amex Gold card into the Built app, and then whenever you dine with a partnered restaurant at Built, you are going to get some extra Built points, which have some of the best transfer bonuses in the industry. With Air France, Air Canada, Virgin Atlantic, Emirates, we see transfer bonuses starting at 75%, which is insane. And they work in a variety of different cities, such as Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Austin, Boston, Charlotte, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Miami, Nashville, New York, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, Salt Lake City, San Antonio, Texas, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, D.C. So if you live in any of these cities, or you tend to frequent them for layovers, or positioning flights, or anything else like that, download the free Built app, because you'll be able to earn extra points. So for example, this one, Son of a Gun, you'll earn an extra 2 Built points per dollar spent, plus whatever you're earning on your credit card. And if you're using the Built card, then you'll earn an extra 3 points per dollar there on top of what you're getting through the app. And if it is rent day, which is the first of every month, you're gonna get double those points. So for this one, for example, you would get 6 points per dollar on your Built card plus 2 points per dollar on the Built dining app. Now, here's where it gets really good. The restaurants that tend to partner with Seated, which PS is also a free app, they tend to be restaurants that are open to partnering with a lot of different apps. So you can actually double dip. Let's see if this Portabancos restaurant is available over here. Perfect. So Portabancos restaurant, Los Angeles, you get an extra 3 points per dollar here. So let's say that you wanted to go to Portabancos. You could use something like an Amex Gold card, earn 4 points per dollar on regular dining, or you could use a Built credit card and earn 6 points per dollar if it's the first of the month. You make a reservation through Seated, you're gonna get your 21% rewards cash back once you upload your receipt, you can cash those out for things like Amazon gift cards, Adidas, Nike, Delta gift cards. You can cash them out for a whole bunch of different things there. You'll get 21% back. And then an additional 3x on the Built app as well. So between that, you've gotten well over 25% back on your dining, which in addition to free breakfast, which you might be able to get at Hyatt's or some other hotels, really helps you to save on food whenever you have to do these types of positioning flights. Last recommendation. I truly, truly wish that this restaurant were available on more of the apps. It is not, but if you're like, I don't want to deal with any of these apps, just tell me what's the best restaurant. If I'm on Layover in the Los Angeles area, I recommend Hi Ho Burger. It's in Santa Monica. It's the best. There's not really any like hackable stacking things that I do with it, but we do frequent this restaurant whenever we're there because the burgers are just so good.
Okay, so now we've covered who would need to go through positioning flights in Los Angeles, what you're gonna eat when you're there, where you're gonna sleep when you're there, but we are missing one big part. How are you gonna cover the cost of that flight in the first place? That tutorial is coming up next. And also, if you're interested in leveling up your points and miles game and getting more free trips and upgrades, we have a couple of options for you. The first one is through the GeoBreeze Travel Patreon, which you can join starting at only $5 per month through patreon.com/geobreezetravel. Each month, we prepare personalized step-by-step tutorials for the routes that our members request. We also provide open forum group coaching where you can ask any questions that you have about points, miles, credit cards, or anything else, and we talk through some of the tips and tricks that I don't really talk about on social media. And if you're looking to get even more free travel with points, and you're a business owner or individual who spends more than $100,000 per year on expenses, check out our one-on-one points portfolio management service. We typically save our clients $30,000 to $60,000 in travel in the first 6 to 12 months of working with our team. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, book a free intro chat with us at geobreezetravel.com/intro call to learn more. Okay, here's a tutorial for different ways to cover the cost of your positioning flight.
And the last part of extra costs you incur when you do a positioning flight is how to actually pay for those flights. So you've got your hotel covered, you're saving on food with the Seated app and the Built app and all of that. But you do have to actually pay to get to Los Angeles in this example. And so a lot of people are like, well, I'm saving points by doing that, but might still have to pay an extra couple $100s. Usually yes, but usually the amount that you save in points from doing a positioning flight, those savings will be more than what you spend on the positioning flight. Also, oftentimes, I usually just recommend booking these on paid flights. There's not oftentimes like a great valuation from using your points for these different types of positioning flights. Like here from Grand Junction to Los Angeles, it would be $220 on United or a little bit more. You could just pay for that and then save your points for a bigger international flight. But if you do really want to use points, then I would recommend using PointMe for this. Because if you are doing a positioning flight, in order to get to Los Angeles, to take a really aspirational points flight that you're taking over to Asia or Australia or something like that, you have a specific date that you need to get there by. And whenever you're booking with specific dates, I recommend using PointMe. So in this example, I said we have 2 people flying from Phoenix over to Los Angeles. It can be in premium economy or economy because it's such a short flight anyway. Picked a random date in October and then clicked search and then sorted by points low to high. There are actually a lot of different ways where you can get these short hops for very, very little points. I know a lot of people think that the best ways to use points are always on those big, huge, fancy flights, and if you've got less than 10,000 points, there's no good redemptions you can do. But that is actually not true. We have an entire video of best ways to fly on domestic flights using international carriers, and some of them include you can fly on United flights, especially on short hop, using Air Canada points. You can transfer Chase, Amex, Capital One, or Built over to Air Canada. And short hops like this, where it's only an hour and a half flight, less than 500 physical miles, is only going to be 6,000 points plus $35 with Air Canada. Alternatively, if you are somewhere where you're not serviced by United, you might be able to do this with American Airlines, where it's only a few points here. Sometimes it might even be cheaper by booking through British Airways to fly on an American Airlines flight. You can book this through Qantas for 8,000 points if you're like, I don't have Built, I don't have American Airlines. This nonstop flight on American Airlines can be booked via Qantas. If you are Team SkyTeam with Delta, you can move your Amex points to Delta, but oftentimes you might be able to do that with Virgin Atlantic as well. Here's an American Airlines flight where you're not flying into Los Angeles, but it's Ontario, which is within that same vicinity as well. And this would be booked on American Airlines via Etihad. So there's a lot of different ways where you can move your points around non-intuitively in order to really save on these positioning flights. And I would recommend checking out PointMe to find some of those different ways. Another favorite way to book positioning flights is if you have Southwest points and Southwest Companion Pass, then every time you book your flight, either with points or money, your companion can fly with you for free. We have an entire video on different ways to maximize the Southwest program linked here below. But all you would need to do is go to southwest.com, and then let's say that you need to position from the Denver area over to the Los Angeles area. I love that they have this checkbox that says, I can go anywhere in the Denver area, so either Denver or Colorado Springs, and I'm okay to fly into Los Angeles or Burbank or Ontario or Orange County or Long Beach. Just find me the cheapest flight, and let's do this in dollars instead of points. You'll go ahead and pick your date and then click on search, and then it will show you all of these different combinations, and then you can just pick which one makes the most sense for you. If you would rather just do the major airports from Denver over to LAX, or if you would rather do something like Denver to Ontario, then you can just click through all of these and figure out which one is going to be the cheapest option. And keep in mind that if you do have the Southwest Companion Pass, you get to bring a companion with you for just the cost of the taxes and fees. And then you can do this either with points or with money. One thing that I personally like to do, since we are in the Las Vegas area and we position to Los Angeles all the time, if you are in Las Vegas, I would recommend checking out JSX. It's like flying on a semi-private plane, and there's a private hangar in Las Vegas, there's a private hangar in Los Angeles. You don't have to go through the crazy LAX security. We often do this on the flight back from Los Angeles into Las Vegas. But what you can do is say, I just want to go from LAX over to, they only fly to Las Vegas or Cabo San Lucas, but if you are okay flying from one of these other airports, like Orange County, for example, that can go into Dallas or Las Vegas or Reno. So here's their current flight map of where they service. It's not a ton of different airports, but they are expanding. And so then you can just say, hey, I'm trying to get from Las Vegas over to Los Angeles. And then you can just say, this is a one-way thing. So you'll be paying about $200, $300, which is the same cost as oftentimes commercial, or just a little bit more than what you're paying for just regular economy with a normal domestic carrier. It can be 30% more, maybe 50% more than that, but it is a much, much nicer flight experience where here's what your seats will look like. It's clean, all the planes are really new. Oftentimes you can get direct window and aisle access. You get check bags are free. You can show up 20 or 30 minutes before takeoff, and you don't have to go through all the regular TSA things like that. So they've got about 30 people or so per plane, and it's a really nice semi-private experience. It feels really luxurious, even though it's just kind of like efficient and bare bones, but it saves a ton of time from not having to deal with airports. So they don't have like a points program right now. You can earn United points or earn JetBlue points, but it's just a cash flight thing right now, and an experience that I would recommend to people because it is just a fun experience also to try once in a while, especially if you're transferring between Los Angeles and Las Vegas or between any of these other airports as well.
I hope you found those tutorials useful. Suggestions for future topics are always welcome, and please let me know if you would like for me to do a similar video for other airports like New York, Chicago, Miami, or any of the other airports where you tend to fly through all the time. In the meantime, if you enjoyed these tutorials, I think you'll enjoy this video next.